do you identify the basic knowledge of a candidate? What do you ask?
First thing that I ask, apart from the general question, is I give them scenarios.
Okay.
That means I ask them what project you have done, what is the scale, what was your role in that. If you really have done a work by yourself, you will explain so fluently that there's nothing wrong that you've done.
So what non-technical skills you want to recommend to the viewers like coming into this domain that they should have?
You must know the storytelling. That is what I always recommend to technical people. I come across many of these network engineers. They are very good at it, what they do. But when it comes to articulating their struggles.
If I'm a network engineer today working as L2, L2 plus engineer, nearby to that, the expected package of 14, 15 lakhs somewhere, what technologies I should be good in it?
So if you are a network engineer today, your fundamentals should be very good in software-defined networking. That's the norm. But if you know software-defined networking, SD-WAN, if you know network automation, if you know cloud networking, how things work in the cloud, how can I do network and network security in the cloud, hyperscalers, I think your value increases there.
Even when you talk about the top 4 or the well-renowned brands, companies, when they're hiring the network engineer, they usually spend more time on the TCP/IP. Why? Welcome back, another episode from the Bangalore podcast series. I have a guest today coming from the network world that we usually, expect. Welcome, Ramesh. How are you today?
Absolutely fine. And it's my pleasure to be on this podcast.
Amazing.
Thank you for inviting me.
Sure, Ramesh. So there are a lot of questions that we want to ask regarding the network, especially from my audience. So I actually started my, the career and even this business from the networking only, and you're the guy who works. It's been more than 2 decades. So yeah, tell me about you. It's a 2-decade journey in the networking. How is that?
Yeah, so time just flies. That's what it happens. So it's over 2 decades, like you said. I started my career through a campus hire. I started my life in north part of the India, Delhi.
Okay.
That's where as a system engineer to start with, and then quickly jump into the networking during days of I think 20-25 years back. That's the time where you start deploying some of the routers, switches, lease lines, ISDNs. That was the time when internet was booming. Every company wanted to jump into the .com surge, right? And every enterprise wanted to have better connectivity. That's where I got a chance to get into the networking, connecting, explore to the world of Cisco, the basics of networking. That's my career started. And then it's just kicked off like that, changed the role grown into the networking, changed my place. Now in Bangalore for almost 15 years now in Bangalore, worked in various organizations. Worked in large projects, a lot of global projects I've been part of, been to several roles in the networking, largely into the delivery. I was deploying projects, deploying networks. Off late in the last 10 years, I've been doing network practice development and solutioning, moved from delivery to a practice solution development part of it, helping customers supporting their new architectures, new solutions. That's the current role which I'm doing.
Great.
So it's been a long
journey, yes. So what do you think, as per your expertise, vast experience into this domain, if I'm a network engineer today working as L2, L2 plus engineer, nearby to that, the expected package of 14, 15 lakhs somewhere, what technologies I should be good in it?
I think networking has changed over the period of in the last 2 decades or more than, right? It's I think the changes is more like any other technology in the last 10 years. Look at these changes that happened in the 10 years. You've seen the legacy network getting transformed into software-defined networking.
Yes.
10, 15 years back, it is a software-defined networking, which was a rush, right?
Yes.
The data center, the cloud surge, the SDN rush came into that one. Then came into the SD-WAN rush. Now, there come the SASE part of it, the integrated security part of it. Security was considered to be a separate domain. Now it's not anymore, right? Network and security is a tight integrated domain.
Yes.
Now, what's the buzzword? It is AI, right?
AI, yes.
So the AI makes an impact in the networking too. So if you are a network engineer today, your fundamentals should be very good in software-defined networking. That's the norm.
Okay.
You should know some of this automation, NetDevOps, right? It's something that you should be knowing, right? If you are a traditional network engineer that I'm managing the legacy network, I think your value is much lesser. But if you know software-defined networking, SD-WAN, if you know network automation, if you know cloud networking, how things work in the cloud, how can I do network and network security in the cloud, hyperscalers, I think your value increases there. So in order to increase your value, these are some of the related technology that you should learn as a network engineer and be good at it.
Great. So, with the vast experience I was talking about, if someone really want to get into the company, let's say he's giving the interview or whatever is happening, you also take the interviews. So, what's the first thing you see in the resume with this profile? Yes, this is the right profile. Should get into it.
We look at the profiles based on the demand, right? What's the project? Okay. Look at any of this deployment that's happening across any enterprises. SD software defined is the norm, which means the first thing that I look at in the resume is that how much experience is that guy? Is he a specialist, architect? Okay, I am looking for an architect guy. Is he good in, these are my basic technology, software defined network, software defined WAN is a must in any of the deployment. That's the basic skill I am looking at it. Has he done some of the deployment? Is he good at, has he done some certification? Has he done real deployment? As he mentioned, some of the projects which involve some of the software defined technology. Does he has got cloud networking? That's some of the things which I look at it. If he has done that one, that means he's done something beyond a legacy traditional networking guy. But when I get a lot of profiles like I worked in a lot of operational level of jobs. I monitor, I do some of this level 1 task. People keep spending years in doing that one. I think that's where that's where you get stagnant. Those kind of a profiles is not really attractive. I think he may not be able to do architect level of work, right implementation. So that makes a difference. So some of these skills I mentioned, that's the one that I look for typically.
Right. So you talked about the SDN and also we already know about the SDN, how it entered, SaaS and cloud. Now AI Ops. Can you tell me more about it?
If I talk about technology, so there are 2 or 3 technology very fundamental in networking. The way that it looks today, the software-defined WAN, software-defined networking, which connects to and makes your data center, the SASE, Secure Access Service Edge, that's the third integrated, which is integrated with your network, integrated network and security. That's the edge and the security integrated, SASE, the technology. And the fourth one, I would say cloud networking. That's the important part of it. On an operational aspect is where the AI Ops and NetDevOps comes. While this technology gets implemented, how do you operate that, right? In an AI-driven way. That's AI Ops. Or NetDevOps helps you to operate your network in an automated way.
Okay.
Like in the world, NetDevOps, right? You know the DevOps, which is used in the software lifecycle, right? You wanted to make a change in an agile way, you should be able to make a change, create a pipeline, look at the change should get tested, validated, go into a production in a pipeline way of that one. How does that happen in a network is exactly what NetDevOps means that. You wanted to make a change, user requesting a change without anybody touching the network, and automation kicks in and then look at the request, validate, make the changes in the production and report it back to the system without having anybody in the system. That's the NetDevOps, which is a future way of operation, or rather it is in place today. So these are some of the technology that it makes a big difference.
And then, what you're expecting next transformation in like few years more after this?
There are 2 parts of it. One is the technology transformation part of it. Definitely AI networking is going to make a big impact, right? When I say AI networking it's combined of NetDevOps, AI Ops, where the networks is an automated, rather autonomous network, right? How does network becomes a self-healing network, right? Even before you as a user, I have a network problem, my device is not connecting. That's a very simple thing that you get, right? Oh, my application is not working. Network is a problem. Is the first one to get the blame. How does network will respond on its own, looking at that or detecting that problem and rectify on its own? That's going to be the future in the operation part of it. Apart from this technology evolving, right, which needs definitely a technology transformation. The networking is not even software defined. Legacy to a software defined, it's already happened. Now that software defined networking system have the capability of AI. That means an AI inbuilt in the networking infrastructure combined with the NetDevOps operation is the future in the networking for sure.
Excellent. So, but you're hiring someone, what do you expect? Like, he should be advanced with the AIs and all, they still having the basic ideas first clear out. What your expectation? Like, if you are hiring someone in your team, so what first things you see?
I think is one of the thing is if he is an experienced network engineer,
Okay.
I would look for whether his fundamentals is okay. He's worked in some of this technology. When I say fundamentals, not from a legacy network, but some of this technology that we just spoke about, SD and SD-WAN, is he very clear about that one? Has he done an actual work? Is he qualified with the right amount of knowledge or with a certification? Has he done that? Has he done an enough project? That's the basic criteria to check. And when we test the knowledge, we give them the scenario. Have you done this? How have you done that one? Have you done an architecting of that one? When you get a customer requirement to do, say, for example, SD-WAN, how did you architect it? How did you make the requirement? How did you make sure that customers' applications are connected? How did you architected the network in a way that your application can connect, talk to seamless, users can talk to the application? What have you done for the network? What have you done with the security policies, ensured that one is end to end? This, if that guy is able to explain in a right way without giving too much of theoretical fundamentals, that exactly how you done. That's the guy which
so like someone coming, is this vendor works? Like if someone is from the Viptela or something else in the SD-WAN, does it matter to you?
Absolutely.
Okay,
Yeah.
tell me more about it.
So some of this technology, you want to name it, networking is all about some of these leading OEMs like the Cisco, the HP networking, the Junipers, they're getting, so if you talk about technology, you name the leading, you get expertise, you done the project in any of this, which is a popular, you are a master on that one. CCNA considered to be a basics for a networking guy to start with, right? The career. Everybody advised them to start with a CCNA. Of course, that's a basic fundamental. Though it is a little biased towards that vendor, Cisco, but it is still a good start for a network engineer to start the career if you wanted to be a network engineer, or anybody want to be a network, you wanted to clear your fundamental. I want to be a security engineer, but if your networking fundamental is not clear, you still lack something in your security domain for sure. So in order to start, you can definitely start with CCNA. Some of this technology you must be familiar with is like SD-WAN, Cisco Viptela, or some of your HP Aruba, SD-WAN. You have your data center switches like Cisco ACI, Arista networking. And the virtualized world on the data center, you have your VMware stack, your cloud stack, your AWS networking, Azure networking part of it. These are some of the technology that we look at it as a, someone who is expertise on that. Now, depends on project, what technology you wanted to rightly, we will look at the deep expertise on that one, right? If it's a large SD-WAN project with Viptela, Cisco Viptela, we will look at it, okay, has he done a lot of work on that? Let's talk about that one. That's some of the technology that we look at.
Correct. So, like, if someone is having the knowledge of SD-WAN, how much you expect their basic knowledge, TCP level knowledge? Does it make any impact? Like, you ask a question, मैं basic सी बात पूछता हूँ. Someone is, talking about SD-WAN, BGP and all, but you ask about the TCP, the headers, and that guy was like, अच्छा. So, what is the perspective? मतलब वहाँ पे what's your call on it? कि उस बंदे की knowledge कैसी है फिर?
It's a very common scenario that you mentioned. So, how does it happens is, I work for a large company, suppose, and I get an opportunity to work on Viptela directly. I've been asked to do that one. Okay, I got my team, I get into the flow, and I do a lot of work on that, say Viptela technology. Right, I did work. Now he will update his resume that when I worked on SD-WAN project. Okay, I evaluate. That's fine. Wonderful. You've done a great job. Nice. But your fundamental has to be right.
Yes.
If you are you're great in SD-WAN, but if you don't know how the wide area network operates, if you don't know a BGP protocol which is sitting on the edge, you must configure a BGP in order to create that underlay in the SD-WAN. Right? If you don't know how to troubleshoot BGP issue, Or if you don't know basic fundamentals of TCP/IP, that I am putting an ACL in a router, access list on a router, and if you don't know how to check the flow and how to check the number of hits on ACLs, and I don't know what is ACL, but I don't know how. I don't know about ACL or probably router. Somebody else did that, and I was doing SD-WAN. Then there is fundamentally something wrong, right? If then you are not a network engineer, you're not even an SD-WAN engineer. Your fundamental has to be right. Your TCP/IP fundamental, your OSI level fundamental has to be right. If you want to do going forward, you want to troubleshoot an issue, you want to pull up the packet capture, and you want to analyze that packet, you must know what is the issue at the layer 2, or is that a layer 3 packet should I open and see? You must know that one. If you don't, if your fundamentals are not clear, I think that's the biggest mistake. I do get a lot of get people on that one. Yeah, I did great work, and I did a big scale project in SD-WAN, and we made this impact. Okay, let's talk to the real.
Tell me a story like I know it must happen with you that when you look at the resume, a lot of things is mentioned that I have done. A lot of things SD-WAN and the lot of things into the networking, BGP, MPLS, a lot of things they entered. Certifications, even they put the CCNA, even the CCI. Is that happen with you when you look at the CV? Oh my God, what a guy! But when you start the interview, you busted it out. So tell me the experience.
Not just in India, it is all happens across the world. We do hire a lot of people in United States as well in many of the global projects. You won't believe the people as cleared CCIEs, architect level people. When you ask some of these fundamental questions, they really struggles. People, irrespective of their experiences. I'm not saying it's a common thing, but people have this problem. So it's not just only certification, and it's on the projects that you work on. There are people who just focuses on what they have to do when they get into their job. They don't really look at why I'm doing that one. What is the impact that I created? What is the surrounding technology? When you deploy an SD-WAN, we're talking more about SD-WAN because we picked up the topic. You should know what is a router underlying that it does. Right? What's the protocol running on that one? What do you configure that? You must know that one. Okay, where is it connected? It's connecting to a data center. Is it you are allowing internet traffic? Okay, how is that internet traffic working? When you want to troubleshoot some issue which is not even related to you, related to some ISP which is you're connecting to, you should know that. How does an ISP works, right? There are people who write this kind of a project. When they do X, when they do 20 things, they will write, okay, I did 100 things and I did a bigger thing. But when you really get into the detailed conversation is when we get into that peeling the onion and then and seeing it, what's really you have done.
Yes.
That's the biggest mistake. So the thing that I keep telling to technical people when I get into that one, if you are doing that project, don't just restrict yourself into the responsibility that is given to you. Understand what is and why is it that you are deploying. Understand the fundamentals of that one. Learn more, even if it's not in your purview, even if it is not your responsibility being asked to do. Please read more about that technology. Please read more about SD-WAN, routers. Get certified if you want. Then you will get more knowledge. You're doing something, you're learning more.
Yes.
That makes you perfect. In order to whether you're doing certification or you're certified and then doing that matter, doesn't matter. But when you're certified, when you write certain things, and if you can't explain that, if you're not done that one, if your fundamentals are not clear, there's something wrong there.
Something wrong. Correct me if I'm wrong. Like what I strongly believe, I'm not against the certification, but what I believe that you should first develop the interest, learn, understand, and then if need, get the certification. It will be a recognition, nothing more than that. You will get your job on the basis of your skill set, your communication. So is that because you are someone who's taking the interviews, hiring the people?
If you look at certification as it is needed. It shows that if you are keeping yourself up to date, it shows that you are learning. It shows that you are staying relevant. But it's not mandatory, I would say. But having that knowledge to do things is important. I learned in two ways. What used to happen for me, I haven't done any basic certification when I started my career. Then I started doing a lot of project. I started doing complex issues troubleshooting. Then I understood, okay, I must try this certification because this carries a lot of value. Then I cleared one certification. I felt so happy that I cleared it. Then the big realization that I had is, it's not what you done in the project. I felt that in the project, I know end to end of that product. It's the first certification that I've done. Actually, it's not even CCNA. I did it to a product called Nortel Networks, something called as an Altion firewall. And now that product is no more, probably 20 years back. Then I used to say that I'm an Altion load balancer and firewall expert. I did projects, I did all the troubleshooting, install, everything. But then when I did the certification, then I understood there is far more that you have actually done. So it's a realization that you get that one. It's not what you do. There are more things. The next opportunity when you get, you can do better things, knowing the capabilities of what that technology like a firewall can do. It works the other way as well. You did a certification, but you keep it, you don't work on that one, it's a waste, I would say. You need to apply that knowledge somewhere. If you don't get a chance to work on what you done the certification, then it's something that's a bigger, you tend to forget that in a year, for not even a year for sure. Yeah, that's the case. But that's why you should do, as a technical network engineer, you should see what is the relevant certification that is applicable to you to jump to the next level, jump to the next level of work. Today I'm a junior engineer. I did my CCNA. I know the basics. Why can't I attempt CCNP? What's big in that one, right? When I done the CCNP, okay, I can do complex troubleshooting. I need to now do the architecting. Why can't I attempt the CCIE? So if you try yourself, that itself is a big step. That means you are attempting to gain that knowledge. Whether you clear or not, it's a secondary matter. But if you're able to work with that knowledge, that makes them back. So when I get these profiles, I look at both.
Yeah.
Have you done the certification? Fine. But certified people, you talk the real matters, they struggles. No. You're not done certification, that's okay, fine. What's your working knowledge? Tell me about the fundamental. There are people who are very good at in some of the deployment operation. They have not done the certification, but when I ask the fundamental questions, they're very clear at it. No doubt, they're really a qualified guy. So it works the other way. It works both the way. It depends what path you choose actually.
Correct. So I don't know what would be your reaction. Like, I'm a CCI security 15 years back. Fortunately, unfortunately, I did not attempt the lab due to my financial condition. But yes, so I think I would be the right example for anyone. Did not attempted a single exam. I did a lot of things, trainings and jobs and running a company, institute, and a lot of things, and running this podcast as well. So yes, it's a recognition, but I think your interest is more important than anything else, isn't it?
So for your information, I have not done a CCIE, by the way. Okay. I have done all associate and professional levels in some of the diverse networking system. Juniper, Cisco, VMware, OpenStack, all the networking tracks of that one. So I try to gain the knowledge around various technology as in when comes, and then never got into that architect level of certification part of it. But I think I fairly do my job still.
Yeah, that's great. So the next thing is very important. I want to ask, like, how do you identify the basic knowledge of a candidate? What do you ask? Please unreveal in front of my viewers. How do you identify it?
So that's a secret of my taking interviews.
Now we want you to unreveal with few questions.
I think it's pretty simple. It's not a great secret or something. Sometimes some of the senior roles I take a level 2 interview. We do have mandatory of level 1, level 2 interview. So it is, you need to really look at what is that engineer expected to do first. Okay, let's assume he is expected to do an architect level job. Our job description says, job demands at least, we consider, we need 10 to 15 years of experience. We need these skill set. We need these certifications are preferred. This is how write a job description. Okay, fine. They get it. We get the profiles. That's fine. The first thing that I ask, apart from the general question, is I give them scenarios.
Okay.
Right? The scenarios I derive out of the work that they've done. That means I ask them, what project have you done? What is the scale? What was your role in that? And then I relate that project into the job that they're gonna next do, because of course they would have some of the requirement that we have kept. They would have done that one in their profile. They would have mentioned that in the project. So I connect with that project, the one work that they have done. If you really have done a work by yourself, you will explain so fluently that there's nothing wrong that you've done. You will. People who mentions projects and when they give scenario, when I ask you to explain in the right way, if they're struggling with the scenario, that means they have done some work with the help of somebody, or they mentioned they were part of the project, not necessarily that they've actually done by themselves. So this is what I consider. If I have done SD-WAN deployment, okay, myself, and I've done a lot of R&D around that one by deploying, destroying, making it up. All of these things, if I've done, I can explain it how to bring up an SDN controller. I am fluent in that one. There's no doubt on that one. But if I've not done one, I gain a theoretical knowledge. I will explain in a theoretical way that when this is the way it comes. So there is a easily that you can make out that are you explaining fundamental theoretical at the theoretical level? You are telling it by your experience. So scenario based question is the most easiest to distinguish between whether you're actually done your work or not. That's how I do.
Yes, yes. So, but still, in my previous podcast and my experience as well in the interviews, I have seen that even when you talk about the top four or the well-renowned brands, companies, when they're hiring the network engineer, they usually spend more time on the TCP/IP. Why?
Say, look, many of the people think that one, in order to get into a job, your fundamental has to be absolutely right. I agree on that to an extent, but look, if I want to get this engineer to do some, say, monitoring job, or if I want him to do a specialist job on a particular technology, and his responsibility is not exactly the one, if there is too much differences in the fundamentals that they don't know anything, then that seems to be a problem. We can't afford that. But it's not necessary that you should be knowing how the TCP/IP communication works, how the sing acknowledge work, how the packet works. If you are not able to explain it by this every step, but if you know the fundamentals to an extent, I think that's a fair knowledge that I consider. But some people, yes, do. Yeah, you must be very fundamentals on that one. You must be very clear about protocols, OSPF, BGP, ISIS, some of this protocol. You should be very expert at it. But if you're not, then you're not a network engineer. Not absolutely true. So if you're able to do your work at a right proficiency, that matters. Right? I think that's what I consider typically. But if you wanted to have a high quality technical engineer with a lot of working knowledge, that's a very niche that I'm through with all fundamentals. I'm certified at architect level. Yeah, it's difficult actually.
Yes.
Yes, there are people like that. I'm not denying that, but it's not the mass population that you find, and because the opportunity that I get is different. The kind of work that I normally do it on the network is different. So that all matters.
Correct. So, what non-technical skills you want to recommend to the viewers, like coming into this domain, that they should have? They're coming to the technical line, but still you want to tell them that this non-technical skill
Yeah,
set
that's
you should have.
fine. So one of the thing that I would always recommend to technical people is you should articulate your technical thing in a better way. You must know the storytelling. That is what I always recommend to technical people. See, I come across many of these network engineers. They are very good at it, what they do. They are very expert at this. I can do troubleshooting. I can architect. I can design. I can bring up SDN in data center. I'm a Cisco ACI expert. I'm a VMware NSX expert. SD-WAN expert. Viptela expert. Yes, they're great. When I talk to them, and technically they're much better. They've done great work. But when it comes to articulating their struggles, so I say, okay, try. This is the business problem for a customer, right? The cost is high. I'm giving them a scenario. Cost is high. Now I want to reduce it. I want to bring operational efficiency. Okay, bring in SD-WAN technology. Now tell me how. The struggles there. Every story, every technical problem can be presented as a story. So stories are like, there is something like, if I take a networking world, it's similar to story, right? What's a story, right? You have something running smoothly, everything is fine, suddenly something breaks. In stories, that's the villain. It comes and then we fight, and then finally the problem solved and you lived happily ever after. That's a
Yes,
story,
that's a
right?
story. Yes.
Start of the story, mid of the story, end of the story. Can you relate the same way? Can you tell your technical problem in the same way? Then you are a better network engineer. Then you are a storyteller. You solve the problem, right? You tell me what was it right, what went wrong, how did you solve, how does it make you. You explain these three things nicely. You make it in a right visual way. That's your story. So it's a storytelling along with some of your soft skills like making a nice presentation, using some of this Excel data in a better way, analyze
Yes.
that one, and write a nice document. You want to write a root cause analysis document on a network problem, you should know how to write a RCA document in a nice way that it represents. Don't write so much of English and nobody has got time to read, but crisp, up to the point, 3 pages. Can you write it? That's the best articulation. Okay, you write it in 2 slides. Can you articulate these 3 stages in a 3 slides in a nice way of representation? You are a better network engineer. Your value increases. So I would always recommend people to be a storyteller. Anything that you do, use some of the analogies and connect your story with a real life problem. That's what it matters as you learn this one. And this is something that I learned of late in my career that
Great.
makes a great impact.
Excellent. So communication, end of the day, plays an
It's
important role.
communication, how you present your problems into a story.
Yes. So with your this experience, any message you want to give to my audience, like if they want to do something good into the networking, let's say we recommend them to go into the networking. What do you want to give the message? Like if you really want to do good into networking, these are the daily practices or something that you really focus on.
I think if you're working, definitely look at what domain you are working on it. Try to get the deep technical knowledge on what you're working. So far, the learning curve that I had in my career is, whenever I work on some technology, I ensure that when I get a deep understanding of that one. But that's not enough. You need to also understand your surrounding technology. Example, you're working on SD-WAN, right? That's a nice technology to know. You know the in and out of it. But SD-WAN is connected to various technology. It comes with an application policy. It has to be integrated with security. It has to be integrated with your data center. So get to know about, if you're a network engineer working on SD-WAN, please get to know some of the basic knowledge on integrated security. How is your firewall integrated? How is your load balancer integrated? How is your application is connected through SD-WAN and make it a better traffic? Now, how is your data center applications are routed through in a better efficient way? How is your firewall connected on that? How is your cloud connected on that one? How is your SaaS applications are connected to that one? Get to know some of this technology. When I used to work on data center technology, networking, data center networking, I done work on Cisco ACIs and other things. But when you get to this virtualized networking part of it, right? I work with a lot of compute engineers. I work with a lot of cloud engineers. I work with a lot of database engineers. I don't need necessarily to become an expert in those technologies, but I should know. I must know what they do, because I have to work with them. I have to integrate with those technology, with my networking technology. If I don't know what they do, then it's a gap. So if you're working, go deep, expertise, you want to get certified on what you do, that's fine. You get more knowledge on that one, read more article, get deep, but increase your breadth of the technology that you're working on that one. That makes you a better network engineer, network security engineer in that.
Amazing. That's true. That's true. It's like it was an amazing conversation with you, and we are coming to the last part of the conversation that is called a rapid fire round. So now I have few questions prepared for you. That's a rapid fire, and let's see how you're going to answer. Are you ready for it?
I'll give it my best of it.
So one thing you learned too late in your career.
I think that I said already. So it's something. It's not about being technical. It's about how you articulate your problem. I think that's very. I think it's one of my earlier boss has really taught me that lesson. That you can be so deep in technical, but unless you tell your story better,
Yes.
I think it's.
That's
I
the
think
best
that I learned and I practiced off late. That's something which I learned very late. Being technical, that's one thing that I learned late.
Perfect. What's harder, learning new tech or unlearning the old habits?
Of course, unlearning the old habit is the toughest thing, no doubt on that one. See, look, habits are being built over a period of time, right? It takes a lot of time to build a habit. New technology learning these days nowadays pretty easy. That you a lot of things online. Podcasts like this get to a knowledge direction for the people, but once you get into the habit, I see people difficult to come out of their comfort zone, right? I'm a legacy engineer, I want to get into software, it's very tough. So unlearning the old habits, whether on a technology or on as habits, I think that's a difficult thing even in real life. That my
Yes. So the biggest lie people believe about getting into the cyber security or cloud?
I think it's all applicable. So when I talk to many people, they said, okay, get into this cybersecurity, get into this networking, do this certification, you're all done. I think learning a tool or a particular technology doesn't makes you an expert when you get into that one. Or even if you've done CCNA, you're all done. Yeah, that's not really unless you apply that knowledge, unless you know the breadth of the technology, I think that's a wrong. So people, when they go for career advice, they said, okay, you learn this tool, you learn this tech, you're all done, set. That's not all it. I think that's the biggest lie people say is a misleading direction, I believe.
Great answer, and thank you, because we are the one who are not giving this advice. If you go through my website, you will come to know we are the one who ask them to better work into the data profile first, whether audience searching secret, then go to the network security, learn some firewall, IPS, and then go to the cyber security. So yeah, we are one of them. And one myth about senior tech roles that needs to be busted.
One myth on senior tech roles, I think people believe that when as you grow the ladder, you become less technical is what people think. Because as you become senior leaders, they think that when they are more business oriented, they are into revenues, numbers.
Yes.
But I think if you look at some of these system integrators companies or tech companies, leaders are highly technical, right? I think it's not just the senior leaders, it's a mid leadership. As long as you stay close to the technology, even if you're a business person, I think that makes the difference. I think junior people think that, okay, he talks to me something because he's business, he just want to make the business, he is more related to that one. But many leaders are really technical. It's the myth that senior leaders don't believe in technology, they're not close to the technology. I think that's one myth. There are leaders, but I think true leaders are always close to the technology.
Correct. The last one, the one tech trend that will change the game in next 2 years.
So in the context that we are speaking, I think the AI gonna make different. It's not a general as a buzzword for sure. What it's gonna happen is AI gonna make significant impact on this networking and cybersecurity part of it, like in the form of NetDevOps and AI Ops. It's just a matter of people start adopting it, and tomorrow is the time where the network becomes an autonomous network. It will operate on its own. It will become a self-healing network. That time is not far, if not two, and another next 5 years, that's going to happen, which is nothing but an AI networking and NetDevOps is the one that is going to make an impact to make it happen. Yeah.
So like people start losing the job tomorrow, day after tomorrow. Is it like it is going to happen like this?
No, not like that. It's actually a gradual journey. It's not really. See, it's not easy said than done, right? It's very difficult to implement it, NetDevOps. A lot of fundamental things are still not changed. You have your systems networking are not in a place. In order for NetDevOps or AI networking to come into place, AI needs a lot of data, right? The data has to be structured. It has to be observed. It has to be the observability is the most key function of NetDevOps or AI Ops. If you don't have the right data, if you don't have the right source of data to be integrated with the right data, AI looks at it, it doesn't get data, I can't do anything. If the system needs to have enough data to detect a problem, solve a problem. If something goes down, your internet is down, your Wi-Fi is down, right? System has to detect with the logs and information. It has to have that data for given to that AI to process that what needs to be done.
Yes.
So what is missing today in the networks is that it's a disintegrated still, though it is software defined, the maturity has increased. I think it's just a time that AI get into that one and make the data structured. So it's not a immediate change. It's a gradual journey for sure. People are in the networking must do this NetDevOps, network automation. Your life is not going to be same as like you do it in a CLI and then start doing your
You have to
networking work.
learn new things after
Of
time.
course, yeah. So tomorrow you're going to work with somebody who's sitting beside you is not a human but a bot or an AI. You're going to work with that person.
Yes.
So you're going to talk to an AI tomorrow. You're going to talk to and ask him what's the network problem. Why did you do that one? You're not going to ask to your junior engineer anymore.
Yes.
You're going to ask to a robot or a script that one. Why did you do that one? You're not asking. You may ask in an AI in a natural language, but you may have to ask them in a script language as a query language, right?
Yes.
That's the way that you're going to interact with machines or systems tomorrow. So in order to do that one, you need to learn that language. That's nothing but an AI networking and an automation language. So if you don't do that one, you still continue to troubleshoot on a basic CLI, show me IP interface and things like that. You're still struggling to things which are better intelligence sitting beside you has done that one. You're missing out of that one. So if you don't know that language, you're gone.
Excellent.
That's the big thing that's going to happen.
Right,
but it's a journey.
Yeah. It's a really amazing conversation, and thank you for sharing all those.
My pleasure.
The jargons and everything related to this networking domain. And guys, I really hope you enjoy the conversation with this experienced guy. And if you really did, please like and follow. Do not forget to subscribe. And thank you very much, Ramesh, to be here and really enjoy everything. Thank you.
Thank you so much. It's been a pleasure being on this podcast. Thank you so much. And once again, thanks for inviting me.
Anytime.
It's a pleasure talking to you. It was absolutely is as good as a conversation over a coffee. It's like you have that chai pe charcha wala on the breaks, right? That we know. That's what I did. Thank you for that one. It's an amazing opportunity.